Hey guys, it's Ashante Frozen. Back again to talk to you guys about our AUS DNA testing, lab, and screening. Continue talking about our DNA testing for our alopecia, okay? This will be part 2 of the alopecia DNA testing because I'm going to go into a little bit more about the test and then how a sample results report look as well. Okay. So alopecia, okay, some people know what alopecia is. Alopecia, about how alopecia looks. So some people can tell by the baldness, certain spot, like dealing with men, the receding hairline, where the hairline kind of go back up in here. And then dealing with some ladies, theirs kind of start like in the top of the head, the crown area. Okay, and then you can see other spots kind of throughout the hair, different little spots, just depending on what kind of alopecia it is, and then depending on what causing it, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about androgenetic alopecia. Commonly known as male or female pattern baldness, is one of the most common forms of hair loss. It is a genetic condition influenced by androgen hormones, such as DHT, which causes progressive thinning of the hair. While it is a condition that can affect both sexes, men tend to experience a receding hairline and thinning at the crown, while women experience diffuse thinning on the top of the scalp. So this is why a DNA test for hair loss is useful for several reasons, okay? So prevention of personalized treatment. Knowing your genetic predisposition allows you to take preventative measurements such as using specific treatments to slow the progression of baldness, okay? Hair care planning. So hair care planning, the test results can help you choose targeted products and treatments, including medications such as minoxidil or finasteride. I probably said that wrong anyway, which can be more effective if used early. Personal knowledge. Knowing if you are genetically predisposed to hair loss can help you better manage expectations and make informed decisions about possible interventions such as hair transplants, okay? So how the test works. So the DNA test for alopecia is a simple and convenient test that only requires oil samples to be collected, okay? Coming over and we can actually do an oil swab in your cheeks, okay? Or we can send you a kit where you can do it at home. You can order and you can do it at home yourself. The kit includes the following bulk of swabs, instructions for collecting and sending samples, pre-addressed envelope samples, okay? So we'll ship them back for the lab, okay? And then to attain accurate results, we recommend to let the samples dry before placing them in the envelope. This will prevent cross-contamination during shipping. So like I said, if you do it at home, we want you to let it dry. So make sure it's in a safe spot so it can actually dry without getting contaminated, okay? And then you'll put it in, make an envelope to send it back to the lab. And the results can be received within 10 to 15 working days from the time our laboratory confirms receipt of the samples, okay? So that's dealing with that. We'll also talk about the science behind the test and how to interpret the results, okay? So some of these terminologies is in, you know, medically terms or whatever. But some of these words might not be pronounced right, but I might just abbreviate them, okay? So the test takes into account the following genes known to influence hair loss. So androgen receptor is known as AR, unfavorable variants in the gene can increase the sensitivity of the scalp to DHT, the hormone responsible for miniaturization of hair follicles. EDA2R, unfavorable variants in the gene can impair the formation and maintenance of hair follicles, okay? So antioxidant capacity, which is known as SOD2, unfavorable variants in this gene can reduce the ability to protect follicles from oxidative stress contributing to hair loss. Chromosome 20p L.22 Lucas. Variants in this region are strongly associated with early and more severe baldness, especially in men. What does unfavorable and favorable variants mean? Okay, unfavorable genetic variants are mutations or changing in genes that increase the likelihood of developing hair loss. These variants affect how hair follicles respond to hormones such as DHT, oxidative stress, inflammation, and other factors that can lead to hair loss. Okay, so favorable genetic variants, those that reduce risk of developing hair loss or that confer greater resistance to hair loss. These variants can positively influence the response of hair follicles to hormones, improve the ability to repair oxidative damage, or maintain scalp health. So having both unfavorable and favorable variants means that your risk of developing alopecia is not determined by a single gene, but by the balance between genetic risk factors and protective factors. Okay, the combination of variants can influence the severity, age, and progressions of hair loss. Okay, if the unfavorable variants prevail, the risk of alopecia will be higher, and more aggressive prevention and treatment strategies may be necessary. Okay, so we're going to talk about the sample results when the results come back for the alopecia DNA test. So here's a little sample report. In this sample report, we're going to give you an introduction to androgenetic alopecia. Is coming, same thing we talked about. So I'm going to give you like an introduction to it. Pretty much the same thing I just said. So I'm just going to list some things, highlight some things we talked about because we just discussed that in this little thing I just went over. Okay, so the introduction to the report, right? I'm going to tell you introduction to androgenetic alopecia. Right, I'll just go over that real quick. So androgenetic alopecia is a common form of hair loss that affects both men and women. It is also known as male or female pattern baldness. Okay, this condition, as can be guessed from its name, is mainly caused by genetic predisposition and the influence of androgenetic hormones, such as DHT, okay, which cause a progressive thinning of the hair and a reduction in its growth cycle. In men, it typically manifests as recessions of the hairline and loss in the vertex area, while women, it presents with diffuse thinning on the upper part of the scalp, generally maintaining the frontal hairline. Okay, so the test takes into account the following genetic variants known to influence hair loss. So the AR, the EDA2R, the SOD2, and the chromosome Lucas 20 P11.22. Okay, so those 4 things right there, let's take account of. So then they're going to give you like an example of, let's see, each variant is explained in details in the report. So when we talk about unfavorable genetic variants, then we got favorable genetic variants. Okay, so then we'll move over to what the report includes. So the report will include detailed explanation of the particular test performed and recommendations to be followed. Summary table showing for each test the list of the metabolic areas investigated and the summary of the respective results obtained from the analysis of its DNA, and in order to have a quick overview of its general situation and to check for possible compromise situations. So then by providing scientific references for the test. Okay, so then we got the colors used. So we're gonna give you another little thing about the colors, right? So after they give you that, they're gonna be like a color thing. So these are color bullets. We'll see green indicates that the virus identifies and the analysts do not unfavorable alter the enzyme activity of the protein that encode and are the risks associated with certain diseases. So then orange indicates that the virus identified in the analysis slightly unfavorably alter enzyme activity and are the risks associated with certain disorders or diseases. And then red indicates that the virus intended in the analysis alter enzyme activity in a particular unfavorable way, resulting in an increased risk of developing certain disorders or associated diseases. Okay, let me give you like a little description down at the bottom. So the results, those are illustrated as well as the consideration and explanation contained in the following pages of this booklet should not be regarded as a medical diagnosis, It is important to bear in mind that genetic information is only part of the total information needed to gain a complete picture of the person's state of health, okay? So then it was telling there about the data given. Here is therefore a tool for the treating physician to formulate a correct assessment of the patient's physiological state and suggest an appropriate personalized treatment, okay? So then once we do that, then you come over. This is like the report is probably about a good like 11 pages, okay? But then after we do that, we'll go over, and then it's gonna start giving you like information about hydrogenetic alopecia. So the one that started describing each one of the 4 different factors that was talking about. So we're gonna break all that down in here. So we'll talk about the AR. So I'm gonna give you information about the AR. You'll see like a little chart thing right here to give you that information about what's causing it. Unfavorable, as well as the DHT, and then it'll go down and down about recommendations. The AR gene variant is unfavorable. It'll give you like different things you should use, like the anti-androgen therapies. And then we'll go on to about the topical minoxidil, talk about that. And then it'll go on regenerative and stimulating treatments. So it'll just give you like a list of different things you do. Then supplementation of essential nutrients, use of specific products for the scalp. Like we're talking about the shampoos that you can use. This antifungal shampoo also has mild anti-androgen properties and can reduce DHT levels in the scalp. Lotions with caffeine and other things and whatever, right? But when I'm talking about that, a lot of stuff this is naming within this thing it goes back to my product line, the Shantae's Open Styles, the hair care health growth product line that we have. A lot of these agreements, it actually naming there is in our agreements. Like they're talking about the argan oil, aloe vera, even talking about caffeine. They got a lot more stuff. I'm gonna just keep going. You just won't know until you actually get one, because I'm not going too in depth about this. But you have to actually get one done to see. But I just want to touch on how it's breaking down the actual report for you. So when I was talking about how we was talking about to use specific products for the scalp, reducing environmental risk factors. You want protections from UV rays, stress management. Let's see. So it's so much stress management, how you can go to yoga, different places I did try to do more relaxation things. Monitoring and specialist consultations. Something like with a dermatologist or trigologist. Then talking about hormone and follow-up. Okay, then a conclusion. Don't give you a conclusion. Information about 1 or 2 unfavorable variants of the AR gene required to target preventative and therapeutic approach to limited hair loss and support hair growth. So drug therapies, regenerative treatments, and careful lifestyle management can make a significant difference in the management of the androgenetic alopecia associated with this genetic predisposition. Working with specialists will help tailor treatment to specific genetic and clinical needs, okay? So then going again, like I said, we're still talking about them 4 variants. We're going to talk about number 2. The test evaluates the EDA2R gene, which is involved in the development of hair follicles, sweat glands, and epidermal structure. This is an unfavorable variant of the EDA2R gene can impair the formation and functioning of hair follicles, okay? Contributing to conditions such as alopecia and brittle hair. Brittle hair is a thing, hydration. Like I said, our shampoo stuff is great for that. But I'm just telling you, these tests will break down different things and let you know what you kind of need. Then going to about the genetic analysts produce the following results. So it gives you like a kind of stuff like the Gentra ID, and then as well as the gene, and then they're gonna talk about allelic variants, genotype, and then predisposition. So they're gonna be up in here too. Then when you go down, they're gonna say what your genetics say. So they're gonna say like if a favorable genetics profile is present for the gene analyst. So they'll put that information up in here too. Then you'll come down, they're gonna say recommendations. If the EDA2R gene variant is unfavorable, they're going to tell you like where to support for a healthy scalp and hair follicles. So I'm going to talk about the topical treatments with growth factors and peptides. Oh my God. So peptides. I will talk about it later in another video. So topical treatments with growth factors and peptides. So peptides is a thing is very popular now, and we have included the peptides in our business as well. Peptides good for a lot of different things. There's research out there about it and all that too, but hey, you'll be able to order that from us, okay? And a lot of it's talking about research and educational things too, but we also have partnered with some doctors where we can actually get those things prescribed through the doctors for you guys, okay? On top of that, let's see. So some of the topical treatments with growth factors and peptides. So this one like lotion serums containing growth factors such as FGF, EGF, and biomimetic peptides can stimulate hair follicles, promoting their regeneration and improving hair quality. Then scalp massages. Stimulating the scalp. We always talk about it. It's always good to do that on a regular basis to massage your scalp to increase blood circulation, improving the nourishment and oxygenation of hair follicles, promoting stronger hair growth, okay? So massaging the scalp on a regular is a good thing. Whether you're having these issues or not, that'll help kind of prevent some things. Longer if you kind of massaging the scalp, keep that blood circulation going there. And it's talking about regenerative and stimulate therapies. So microneedling, PRP, and then low intensity laser. What else other things you talk to therapists and stuff about? Some kind of therapeutic things you can get done. Let's talk about this a bit. Supplementation of nutrients, okay? So then we're talking about the biotin, zinc and vitamin D, omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, collagen and organic silicone. I mean, these things are good, and these things are actually in our products too. It just happened to go hand in hand with what we're talking about right now. But that's why a lot of things, people realize the business that I have, these things actually go hand in hand with other things that I have. That's what I like about my businesses, whatever. One thing can help carry over to another thing to help you get what you need, okay? And it all just interact together, okay? So we're going to talk about that. So like some of the collagen, the omega-3, and omega-6 fatty acid, and biotin, zinc, and vitamin D. So we're going to go into the biotin, zinc, and vitamin D. These nutrients are essential for healthy hair and scalp. Vitamin D in particular plays a crucial role in regulating the growth of hair follicles. Omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. These essential fatty acids reduce inflammation and improve the health of the skin and hair follicles, okay? So then we're going to talk about the collagen and organic silicone. So support the hair structure and improve the elasticity and resistance of the hair follicles. Okay, so like I said, I didn't take videos about that in my other business, Ashanti's Ultimate Style, and a whole bunch of other platforms, okay? But anyway, you can find those videos from talking about the different ingredients in our product. I probably did like 19 videos so far about the ingredients that's in the hair growth, hair care line products. And let's see what else. So then they're going to tell you about use of suitable cosmetics products. So gentle and strengthening shampoos. You use softened and paraben-free shampoos and conditioners with nourishing ingredients such as keratin, panthenol, and olive oil, and strengthening fragile hair. Like I said, it goes right back to our product line. Our product have those in there. I'm not just saying that. I do the videos. You can go by there and look at it and see. Okay, so then lotions, different lotions with certain stuff in it. These ingredients can improve the skin barrier of the hair. Actonol, niacinamide, I can't even say that anyway. But the ingredients can improve the skin barrier of the scalp, protecting follicles and promoting healthy hair growth. So then they talk about the pharmacological and medical approaches, okay? So topical minoxidil promotes elongation of the anagen phase of the hair and may be useful for improving the quality of damaged hair follicles, okay? They also say consult a trichology specialist. Regular evaluation with a trichologist can help monitor follicles, okay? So let's see. Consult a trichology specialist. Regular evaluation with a trichologist can help monitor follicle health and adapt treatments according to individual's response, okay? Then reducing environmental and behavioral risk factors, okay? So these are all just little points they have on here. Just give you the examples of different things, what you should do outside of the test, okay? As well as certain treatments and things. And then, let's see, so reducing environmental and behavioral risk factors. They're going with like protection of the scalp from UV rays. Let's see, use protective hats or sprays to reduce sun damage, which can further impair hair follicles. Okay, then, so let's talk about two, avoid aggressive hair treatments. So reduce the use of chemical dyes, high temperature treatments, and products with irritating ingredients to protect hair follicles from further damage. They're going to give you a conclusion about that too. Further, like I said, each one will give you a conclusion on what to do. So this conclusion, I just read one or two things on there. One or two unfavorable variants of the EDA2R gene requires an integrated approach to support and protect hair follicles. Dealing with that is some of the regenerative treatments, targeted supplements, lifestyle modification can reduce the negative effects of the genetic variant. Collaborating with a dermatologist or trichonologist is essential to develop a customized plan that optimizes hair and scalp health, improving growth, quality, and preventing further damage. Okay. So then we'll go on to the other one. Antioxidant capacity, which is number 3, okay? So SOD2. So the test evaluates the genetic variant involving the SOD2 gene that is associated with reduced antioxidant capacity with direct implications for hair health and the management of alopecia. So SOD2 is a crucial enzyme that protects cells from oxidative damage by neutralizing free radicals. An unfavorable variant in this gene may reduce the efficiency of the defense system, increasing oxidative stress, which may contribute to hair loss and thinning. Okay, they're gonna give you another chart again, so you have a chart for that one too. Okay, so give you those different charts with different things in there. Okay, so it's very detailed. So then you can say recommendations if the SOD2 gene variant is unfavorable. We'll say increasing antioxidant intake in the diet. So we're talking about antioxidant-rich food. Supplement your diet with antioxidant-rich fruits, vegetables such as berries, citrus fruits, spinach, broccoli, carrots, and tomatoes. These foods help fight free radicals and reduce oxidative stress. And also talk about vitamin C and E. These are powerful antioxidants that protect hair follicles from oxidative damage. Foods such as oranges, kiwis, almonds, and sunflower seeds are good sources. Then we go on and on and on, okay? So then, like I said, going to also give you specific antioxidant supplements. When they're talking about that, I'm going to give you antioxidant topical scalp treatments. Some of the serums and lotions with vitamin E, caffeine, and oxidative peptides. Told you. Pretty much one shop for their hair growth journey, okay? So then let's talk about the what else? What are some of the essential oils, antioxidant agents? Some of the rosemary oil, peppermint oil. These are in our products. I keep saying it over and over again. Those our hair growth, hair line, the products, they are amazing. And you see, I'm not just making this stuff up. You do a alopecia DNA test, they're going to give you a breakdown of what you need to do outside of that, what you need to use. And they talk about these different ingredients, the topical oils, all the different things with the lotions, essential oils. And you see our products with rosemary. We got the peppermint. We have the keratin. We have the caffeine. We have the aloe vera, argan. I mean, it just go on and on and on. And it just, I'm just in awe when it comes to this. Like I said, that let me know I was on the right track when I created this stuff. Because creating this stuff and getting with those different chemists and manufacturers, whatever, to do things for me. And then to go with my DNA business. Like I said, I've been in the DNA testing business for over 2 years, okay? And I've been in the hair business for over 25 years. So I'm just saying, y'all, if you need me, call me. But we're gonna keep going a little bit more about it. So I stopped at antioxidant topical scalp treatments. We were talking about the serums, the lotion with vitamin E, caffeine, and antioxidant peptides. I'm gonna put that out there for y'all too. As I know y'all can purchase that, okay? Actually, y'all can probably start doing your orders now, but I'm gonna put a link out there soon for that, okay? So then, let's see, what else? Oh, and then we're talking about the reduction of physical and emotional stress. So stress management, and keep going back to the stress. We got to make ourselves relax a little bit more. So stress increases the production of free radicals and can aggravate hair loss. Relaxation techniques such as meditation, yoga, and deep breathing can improve hair health by reducing oxidative stress. Okay, then quality sleep. Let me dim myself. Anyway, so insufficient sleep can increase oxidative stress. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of good quality sleep to optimize cellular repair. Okay, then talk about limitation of exposure to external oxidizing factors. So it's talking about the UV protection, avoid smoking and pollution. And then we'll talk about dermatological monitoring and controls. So regular checkups. So consult with a dermatologist and trichonologist to monitor scalp and hair health and assess the effectiveness of the measures taken. Let's talk about antioxidant capacity testing. So, like I said, and then gonna give a conclusion for that too. So, like I said, each one is gonna break down whatever, and then gonna give you a conclusion about that. So, number 4, talking about the locus chromosome 20p 11.22. So, this test evaluates the genetic variant of the chromosome 20p 11.22 locus, okay, which is one of the most significant associated with androgenetic alopecia, especially in men. Various studies have shown that the genetic variant increases the risk of developing early and more severe baldness. So locus chromosome 20p 11.22 refers to a specific position of chromosome 20 within the human, genome. Here is a detailed explanation of the meaning of this term. Chromosome 20 refers to the 20th human chromosome, one of the 23 pairs of chromosomes present in human cells. So P indicates the short arm of the chromosome. Chromosomes have 2 arms. The short arm, P form the French petit, and the long arm, Q. Okay. So then 11.22 represents the exact position on the short arm of chromosome 20. The numbers are divided into 2 parts. First digit, 11, represents the region and main band, while the second, 22, indicates a more specific subband within the main band. The notation 20p 11.22 thus identifies precise zone on chromosome 20 that may contain one or more genes, okay? So then it's about the genetic analysis produced and following results. Like I said, you're going to chart again, some of the same thing we went over on the first one. Then it goes on about recommendation of the locus variant 20p 11.22 is unfavorable. So then talk about the early start of preventative therapy. So it's talking about the therapy, what you should do and all that different stuff for the follicles and the DH2. Topical minoxidil 2% or 5% data application. And then we'll talk about the advanced collaboraries, regeneration therapies. And then PRP, which is considered the platelet-rich plasma therapy. The PRP injections into the scalp can stimulate follicle growth, improving hair density, and prolonging the hair life cycle, okay? Then microneedling with minoxidil. The combination of microneedling and minoxidil enhances the effectiveness of the treatment by increasing drug absorptions and stimulating cell regeneration, okay? Then some hair transplant surgeries. So in this case of advanced progressions, and despite preventative therapies, a hair transplant, and talking about FUE or FUT, foot and foot, may be considered. The surgical solution position follicles from areas like areas less sensitive to the effects of DHT to thinning areas. Then it's about lifestyle modification. Okay, so it's about antioxidant, nutrients-rich diet, the supplements such as vitamin D, biotin, zinc, iron. Like I said, biotin is in our products too. And stress reduction techniques such as yoga, meditation, some of the meditation stuff again. Then use of cosmetic products, specific shampoos, anti-DH shampoos, products containing ketoconazole or other DHT inhibitors can help reduce the maturation of hair follicles. Then lotion with caffeine or peptides. Okay, so then monitoring the regular consultation, follow with a dermatologist, and let's see what trichology to monitor progression of baldness and adapt therapies according to individual response. Periodic hair tests. So let's get in your conclusion again. I just want to go over that with you a little bit because, like I said, when you do your DNA test, you'll get like the report with all this different information in there, custom to fit whatever going on with you. Okay, so I just came over quick to talk about that. I'll go back into the other stuff a little later. I just want to come on and talk to you guys about the alopecia DNA test, as well as the some of the sample report of that and how that would look. And how something would tell you what you need to do outside of that to help maintain, the treat, or to save whatever hair that you have to prolong the baldness, okay? And then talking to a dermatologist and trichology. But like I said, even with that, we can also get you a medical grade wig. And we have the medical grade wigs. We have the Prosthesis Wigs, as well as the toppers too, and we have them for men and women. Okay, so with that said, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.